Hello everybody, it's Catherine from Jane Catherine on Books, and I'm here today with another reviews and news. Thought I'd talk about a few of the books that I've been reading recently. So without further ado, here we go. The Swan Thieves. This is by Elizabeth Kostova. Quite a thick, chunky one, you can see. There's a few ladies from my real life book club at the library that have read this and really enjoyed it. It's best-selling author of The Historian, and that had really good reviews. So I was really excited when I found this in a second-hand bookshop. It'd been on my radar for a while, and yeah, suddenly got it. But oh, chunky book. However, I couldn't get into it. I really couldn't. I was drawn to it as well because we've got a psychologist. He's got a famous artist who's his latest patient. This famous artist turns up at the National Gallery and tries to destroy a very iconic and valuable painting. And there's a lot to do with French Impressionism in here, which is something that I really enjoy. We used to have a fine art gallery, so I especially drawn to Impressionism. That's my favourite period. I thought this was going to be fantastic and I'd be riveted. I just couldn't get into it at all. So just not for me, just not the book for me. So that could be passed on for somebody else to enjoy. Well, there's been a murder on the links. Agatha Christie, book 2 in the Inspector Poirot. As you recall, I started right back at the beginning. Last month read Murder at Styles, The Affair at Styles, yeah. Loved it, gave it 5 stars, which is unusual for me with an Agatha Christie, even though I love them. This fell flat, I suppose, because I'd had such a wonderful read and this came close after it. It was okay. You know, it was a 3-star read, so it's still okay. Poirot comes from France. Hastings is hot on his trail, his friend Hastings. I love Hastings, think he's a wonderful character. And they arrive at a usual country manor, and there's been a murder on the golf links. And so they're trying to investigate what's happening, and blow me, there isn't another murder. It was fine, I enjoyed it, nothing special about the plot really. Yeah, just read book 2 in the series, waiting to get to the next one. As you recall, I'm doing a challenge for Penguin. This is Sophie Kinsella's Surprise Me, one of the books I got for Christmas from my son and his lovely girlfriend Charlotte. I wasn't expecting to enjoy this book as much as I did. It's a romance, it's a contemporary romance. We have a couple, Sylvie and Dan. They've been married for about 10 years, I think. And they enter some sort of a, you know, sometimes you can do those sorts of quizzes on your phone or whatever, and it'll say, what film star am I? Who would I be if I was an author? And, you know, how long will I live? Blah de blah. Well, they did something like that, and it shocked them both because it said that they were going to be married for another 68 years. And the thoughts for both of them, I think, being married another 68 years was like a cat amongst the pigeons. And, you know, they had a happily settled, ordinary, run-of-the-mill marriage like most people do. And it started going downhill for a while because, oh my goodness me, 68 years, another 68 years being together. It made them delve deep, I think, into themselves. They decided that they ought to have more date nights and not take each other for granted. So they start giving each other little treats and surprise holidays and stuff like that. I mean, it's quite humorous in places, so, you know, it is enjoyable for that. And they start raking things up from the past, which, you know, sometimes things from the past are best left hidden away, but no, it rakes up everything. really enjoyed it. Contemporary romance, but also, you know, not too light and fluffy. There are some subjects in here that really are quite thought-provoking. So, yeah, enjoyed that one. Gave it 4 stars. No, 3 stars. Did I give it 3 or 4 stars now? I'm questioning my own thoughts. 4 stars. Yeah, thought stars. Then this is one you need to put down for March Mystery Madness on your TBR for March Mystery Madness. The Binding Song by Elodie Harper. The secrets are dangerous, the truth could kill. I really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 stars. Not quite a 5-star read. I didn't quite have the emotional... I had a certain amount of emotional attachment to it, but not so emotionally involved that it was a 5-star. We have Janet Palmer, who is a psychologist. We seem to have got a few psychologists in this little pile, don't we? And she works in a prison in Norfolk. So Norfolk is in the southeast of the United Kingdom. And she moves there for her job. And she has this special interest in reforming sex addicts, rapists. They're the sort of people that she runs a program to help them to be remorseful for what they've done, and to be able to come out of prison better characters. Now, whether they do or they don't is a different matter, but yeah, that's what she's being paid to do. And there are twists and turns galore along the way with this. She doesn't particularly fit in at this new prison. People aren't very friendly, and some of that is because there's things going on in this prison that shouldn't be. The people that work in this prison that shouldn't be, and I think they're a bit too frightened that this new member of staff is a smart cookie and might cotton on to what they're up to. There's a lot of mind games going on in here, and there's a big twist at the end. You can sort of, it doesn't surprise you, but it makes a really exciting ending to this and wraps up the whole psychological drama very well, I think. So not far off being a 5-star. Definitely I would put it on your list for March Mystery Madness. So, sorry, the sun is very bright today. We've had a lovely spring-like weather for the last few days in Scarborough. Okay, so that's it for reviews. I just want to talk about now in news 3 books that I'm going to think about and write some thoughts down, so these will be coming soon. So for my 5-star project, The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Very hyped book, very well discussed on BookTube. Beautiful yellow edges. And this is what I've been reading for my 5-star project. So if you recall, I'm reading all the 4-star books that Books and Lala read in 2017, all her 5-star books. I'm reading the same to see what the variations are. So I'm wanting to read another book because I tend to review them in pairs for the 5-star project. And also I want to write a few thoughts down about The Hate You Give before I do that review. I've also read Dear Mrs. Bird. Keep going. Da, 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 da. A.J. Pierce. And it's 1941, so it's the Second World War. And Emmeline decides that she wants to be a fearless Lady War correspondent, and she gets a job with a local newspaper, and she ends up being the assistant of the local agony aunt. So not quite the war correspondent she was hoping for. Very nice book, really enjoyed it. It was a 4-star for me, but I want to write some thoughts down before I review it for you. And then finally, The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I'm that used to holding it there, sorry. That used to holding it at that side, but you won't be able to see it in the light. Taylor Jenkins reads, probably one of the most talked about, most hyped books of recent times, the last 6 months. I don't say that I didn't love it like everybody else, dare I? I need to write my thoughts down because I want to split it in into things that I did like about it, things I did enjoy about it, and the issues that I had with it, because I did have quite a few issues with it as well. And I'm in the process of putting down my thoughts, and so we'll do a review of that. Yeah, she's bringing a new book out soon, Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I've heard from people that have read all of her books that this is a very different style for her. But the latest one that's coming out, I don't know if it's March, is going to be along a similar vein, I think, to this, because this was so popular and everybody, well, not everybody, because we can't all love everything, but it has been revered by many as being their favourite 5-star book of 2018. So that is one that I'm going to think about and review later. So you've got those 3 to be looking forward to. And finally, for news, I just want to give you the information, a couple of books that are coming out that I've read on NetGalley. Kindly sent by NetGalley and the publishers. One that's already out now, which came out slightly early, came out on the 8th of January, is The Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks. Really, really good book. I gave that 4 stars. I'll do a full review at some time in the next few weeks. It's very much a psychological thriller. It very much features toxic relationships, taking advantage of the vulnerable, I think, when people have got issues and when they're low. Good book, really enjoyed it. Have a look out for that one. The Anonymous Girl by Greer Hendricks. I'll leave a photo here. The other one that's coming out on the 21st of February, I'm currently reading it and so far I am enjoying it. I'm not very far in. It's The Day of the Accident. And I can't recall, I will write down who it's by because I can't remember who the author is. And basically there's been a car accident. A woman is in intensive care. So we've got that trope. It seems to be quite popular lately. Somebody gets knocked out in an accident, wakes up out of a coma, and there's something strange going on. Well, she wakes up to be told that her daughter was killed in this accident and her husband's disappeared. So I'm not far into it, but I think all is not what it seems, and I don't think that's the truth. So I think this is going to be a really good psychological thriller. Again, something that I think you may well want to look out for March Mystery Madness. So that's The Day of the Accident, coming out 21st of February. I've been sent 3 choices for my Penguin Challenge for February. And the first one is a non-fiction. It's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying by Marie Kondo. Not read any of hers. It's supposed to be, her method of tidying up is supposed to be really good, and many people are following her methods and, you know, finding good results from that. So I could choose that. The second choice is The Wedding Guest. It's the latest Jonathan Kellerman, I believe. Now, I used to love Jonathan Kellerman. I used to read all his books, but I think they started to get very much, for me, very much similar, very much the muchness, and I really just fell out of love with them, to be honest. So I don't think that will be chosen. And then the last one is A Love Story for Bewildered Girls by Emma Morgan. And this does sound interesting. It's fiction, but it also does feature some GLBTQ plus diversity in there, and the plot sounds interesting. So it depends whether I go with something non-fiction and learn how to tidy up better, or whether I'm going for The Love Story for Bewildered Girls. They're both books that I would like to read, so it's a difficult choice. I'm not sure which of the two I shall read for my challenge this month. Let me know if you've read either of those, what you think of them. And yeah, I shall be reading that sometime this month for that challenge. So I think that's about it. Excuse me, because I know I'm going to start coughing and need some water. So I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.